My dog is the alpha predator of the neighborhood. So you're probably thinking to yourself, well, what kind of dog does he have? Does he have a Rottweiler? Does he have a Doberman? Nope. My dog is a golden retriever. And yes, he is the alpha predator of the neighborhood. In my neighborhood, you have all the animals that you'd expect, rabbits and birds and squirrels. And at the top of that list are coyotes. And you'd think that if my dog was out at night and there was a coyote, the coyote would be attacking my dog. Well, if that's your belief, well, you're very mistaken. And I would have been too. The coyotes in my neighborhood are scared to death of my dog. My dog chases them, as far as he possibly can. They want no part of him. You see, in a lot of social situations, there's an opportunity for one person to be the prey and one person to be the predator. Now, it doesn't always happen that way, but when somebody decides they're going to take one of those roles, the person opposite them is almost or virtually almost always going to take the opposite role. So, for example, if you have somebody that's incredibly naive and they're just handing their money off to strangers, they're going to attract scammers. And I've seen it over and over again where you have somebody that's just it could be elderly or just overly trusting of people. And what happens is the scammers see that and innately just go after them and they rip them off. In sales, it's the same dynamic, but it's actually inverted. Because when we approach somebody from a sales perspective, a lot of times we're taught to be the predator. Now, you've never been told that before, but in essence, that's what you're doing. You're taught to overcome objections, which is a very aggressive action. You're taught to establish and build rapport, which is kind of part of the hunting action. And you're taught to turn a no to a yes, which again is a very aggressive hunting action. And what happens is these people perceive the salesperson as the predator. They're aggressively asserting themselves to get their end, to get their kill, to get their spoils, whatever you want to call it. And so what they do is they immediately adopt the role of prey. Now, what does the prey do? The prey's first instinct is to protect themselves. And the first action that they do is they flee. You think that my dog was the prey and the coyote was the predator? It's the other way around. My dog's the predator and this coyote is the prey. The minute the coyote sees my dog, he is gone. He doesn't even wait. And with our customers or our prospects, if we adopt a role and actions that relate and remind them of a predator, they're going to adopt the role of prey and they're going to flee. They're not going to trust you and they're going to want to get away from you as soon as possible. And if you've ever had somebody where you call them back and then they just stopped answering the phone, they totally ghost you, and you wonder why that is. It could be after one call, it could be after scheduling the appointment, or it could be even after conducting the appointment, and they ghost you. It's because they perceive you as the predator. So what do you do to fix this? Well, the answer is easier than you think. In fact, it's staring you in the face. What you need to do is you need to stop acting like the predator, which means you need to stop performing actions that remind them of past predators. And you might say to yourself, well, I'm not the predator. Well, but you're reminding them of past predators. You're doing the same thing as people that they perceive as predators. So you need to actually not only just stop it, but actually start doing the opposite. So what you need to do is you need to adopt an abundance mindset. In other words, you need to shed yourself out of a scarcity mindset that most of us innately have. And even when we don't have it, there's always a tendency to kind of want to fall back into it later. And in addition to that, we need to not be aggressive. We need to know that we have a negotiating leverage with the people that we're talking to. And even if you're saying to yourself, well, I sell the same product as everybody else, I'm selling the same insurance policy, or whatever product that you're selling, it's easy to sit here and say, well, I'm the commodity because I'm no different than anybody else in my office, but you're not. You're different and better in a million different respects than people in your office. It's just that you haven't identified it yet and actually lived out that truth in your life. And for me, when I was working in a call center, there were hundreds of other people like me. They had the same leads, they sat in the same place, a lot of them had the same manager, but I started to realize that I had innate advantages over everybody. I knew my market, I knew the people that I was talking to better than anybody. I knew what their experience was going to be downstream once they signed up better than anybody. I knew generally how to do the jobs of the people who they would experience and run into downstream. I had really strong relationships with people in those departments. So if there was a problem, I could quickly backdoor it and get it fixed ASAP, and nobody else was doing this. So although all the cards on the table said I was the same as everybody else around me, I knew in reality I was not. And so in order to stop being that predator and try to push people into a sale, you need to fully understand your value and what you really bring to the table that no one else in your office and nobody else in your industry can do. And once you do that and you actually live it out and you're not afraid to communicate it, I mean, at the very least subtly, and you really start to emanate this sense of confidence that's true confidence, not arrogance, it's not a show, but it's true confidence, people are going to respond to you in kind. They're not going to see you as the predator. They're going to think the hunt's over. They're going to stop hiding and they're going to get out and they're going to start acting normal. And at that point in time, when they see you doing the same thing, they're going to relate to you. And in a lot of instances, they're going to buy from you without objection. It's really that simple.